Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff. As always, welcome by the one and only Angel Ortega. Ladies and gentlemen, it is UFC 273 fight week. We have a huge week of fights, 2 title fights, plus, arguably the greatest, the most fast rising star MMA coming back, obviously Khamzat Chimaev. We'll get into all that in 1 second. As always, we are brought to you by Rogue Energy. If you want 10% off your order at RogueEnergy.com, use the code SOUNDOFF at checkout. It's code SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off of all your energy needs. As always, an amazing sponsor. If you've listened to us before, you've heard about them. You guys go, buy yourself something nice, get somebody else something, you can get somebody a gift card, so on and so forth. But make sure to use code SOUNDOFF at checkout. That's 10% off, 10%. Huge percentage. Use it. Code SOUNDOFF at checkout, RogueEnergy.com. This Saturday night from the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena in Jacksonville, Florida. Angel, it is time. UFC 273. We talked about this card before. Alexander Volkanovski, Chan Sung Jung, Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan, Gilbert Burns, Khamzat Chimaev. Before we even get into the preview, those are 3 incredible fights. 2 title fights and then a welterweight number 1 contender bout. Of those 3, what's the one you're most anticipated for? And what is your overall hype level for this card going into it?
What a fucking good question, dude. Let me just compliment you real quick, just so you know. That was a great question. I love how you worded
Angel, don't stroke my schmeat just yet, alright? We're just starting the preview, bro.
I know, we're just warming up, man. We're not at the end yet. Oh, man. No, I mean, Josh, I think the biggest question going into this week is Khamzat Chimaev, dude. I really do think he is the star of this card. Let's just be honest. No disrespect to Aljamain or Petr or Volk and the Green Zombie, right? Because there's storylines leading into each one of those fights. But to me, the most interesting story leading into this weekend is going to be the Gilbert Burns Khamzat Chimaev fight.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I guess I could ask you the inverse. I might as well ask you back the same question, right, yeah. Josh? Who do you think it is?
Well, it was just more like a personal question to you specifically. But as far as personally, dude, here's the thing. The people's main event is Gilbert Burns, Khamzat Chimaev. I love all 3 of these fights.
I'm on the same boat.
Yeah, but it's got to be Khamzat, right? If you look at that fight, just before we get to the X's and O's and everything, it's you have a guy that's fought for the title. Obviously, Gilbert Burns is flying under the radar, but still, he's the number 2 guy in the division. Incredible grappler, nearly knocked. He's the only person to ever drop Kamaru. He's been the only person to ever hurt Kamaru Usman. He's won something like 8 of his last 9 fights, coming off a win over Wonder Boy. And then you have this phenom, this young phenom who we've heard about for a long time. And every single time he takes a step up, he not only wins, he does it in even more impressive fashion. He is so fucking good. 10-0, all via finish. I don't remember his strike ratio, but it's something 202-1 or something. Incredible. It's a turning point. It's an incredible fight. My personal most anticipated for. But I do love the other fights on the card. This is even some undercard fights that I'm really excited about. So, yeah, man, it's a dope card. Overall, my anticipation level, I jokingly said it's card of the year. I don't know if we'll go ahead and...
It could be. It has potential. I don't think it is, but it has potential to be.
Yeah, it has the potential to be. It's going to be tough to top UFC London, I think that's the standard so far.
Ooh.
That's the standard. There's some other good cards. The next card is pretty dope, too. UFC 274. 275 is great. They're still in kind of that weird phase where pay-per-views are pretty fucking stacked, and fight nights are kind of eh. So we'll see what happens. Oh, no, I'm not complaining at all. It makes Saturdays more fun. Because even then, some of the fight nights, we'll see these guys that you don't really expect to put on incredible performances, incredible fights. So, anyways, as far as this card goes, just moving on to talk about the card itself, we're getting to the X's and O's, guys. We're going to get into the fights themselves. The main event, Alexander Volkanovski, the Great, back for the first time since his incredible fight against Brian Ortega last September. He obviously won that one. Same as he's won his last 20 fights stand corrected. 20 fights in a row now. I believe like 10 of those are in the UFC, and then during that stretch, Chad Mendes, Darren Elkins, Jose Aldo, Max Holloway twice, Brian Ortega. He has an incredible resume, and he's the reigning defending UFC featherweight champion. And coming in is one of the most beloved fighters of all, at least at featherweight. I feel pretty comfortable saying. The Korean Zombie. 35 years old. We've heard about he's had some injuries, with the shoulder. We're not really sure where he is. He obviously took this one on short notice. It's supposed to be Max Holloway in this spot. This is his first title shot since 2013 when he fought Jose Aldo. And that was also on short notice. So it's a bit unfortunate how he's getting these spots, but he's won 3 of his last 4 fights. Danny and then he knocked out Frank Yeager and Renato Moicano. He did have the one loss in there against Brian Ortega in a title eliminator fight. Angel, I'm not even going to ask if he's going to win yet, because we can really move on to our first prediction in a minute, but the Korean Zombie, if you look at the betting odds for all these fights going on this weekend, there's tremendous favorites in every single one of them. And in case you guys are not aware, it's Volkanovski, Jan, and Khamzat Chimaev. If you had to just give a percentage out of 100, how big of a percentage do you give the Korean Zombie to spring an upset this week? I'm not saying that you will, but what's the odds you give him?
25.
Okay, fair enough. That's kind of in the same ballpark that I am. Obviously he has incredible grappling. He has solid knockout power, but I think if he was fully healthy and he was not coming in on short notice, I think we'd probably have a different view of this one. But
it's not terribly short notice. It's not 2 weeks. No,
it was 2 months. Still solid, but to go from thinking you're gonna get surgery to
being fuck that, I'm gonna fight for this.
You're oh fuck, I'm gonna get a title fight. That's a massive difference.
That's kind of hard though. I'm not gonna lie.
He is that guy. He is that guy, pal. Honestly, you
gotta give him credit regardless.
Oh, for sure, of course. So look, man, this fight. Give me your preview. Who do you got on Saturday?
Look, I obviously obviously our percentage is gonna give it away, right? Let's be honest. We're not gonna try to hide that by any means. But with that, put in place. Look, I told you this. What was it? Maybe it might have been last week. I think I had it been last week, or maybe even I might have even mentioned it before. Where I was telling you, if there was someone to do, if there was one guy you got to pick from 45 right now to come in, and you wouldn't expect to win, but has a chance at winning, and for some reason would come in and upset Volk. And if I really had to pick a guy, I really had to pick one guy, it would be the Zombie. You know what I mean? Yeah. If we're not talking about Max Holloway or anybody else who, even Zabit, who's on the return, I feel like Zabit would be one of those other guys who I'd be pretty confident about, who I think could maybe do something. He's making his return soon, and we got to talk about that at some point. Maybe. I don't know. We don't know anymore, right? It's been a minute. We were hearing last year, and now we're hearing this year, and I mean, we're 4 months into the year, so I don't know what's going to happen, but regardless, I digress. The Zombie would be that guy for me, Josh. I mean, like you said, incredible jiu-jitsu, good enough stand-up, obviously incredibly tough guy, hard to put out. I mean, he'll go he'll go the distance, he'll take damage, which isn't always the best thing, right? But, he ends up doing it, and he gets into these wars. But I think he's a crafty little guy, man. He's someone who I think you can never have your guard down with, because at any moment he could surprise you. Mm-hmm. With Volk, I think Volk is just extremely disciplined, dude. One of them, I'll give him credit. I think when it comes to the fight, out of any fighter I've ever seen, I've never seen Volk. I've never seen a more disciplined fighter than maybe Volk, and that's not to disrespect any of the other guys that I've seen. But there's been plenty of good guys that we've seen in recent time, and plenty of good, a lot of guys that come in with a good game plan. But I don't think I've ever seen Volk in a fight and be like, damn, he is not yeah, sure, in the Bryan fight he did get in those positions, but that was also at the same time just Bryan being an absolute fucking, unit and machine, right? Yeah. And his talent. But I think Volk is one of those guys that he sticks to a game plan, he knows what he has to go in there and do, and he'll always do it in the way he's gonna do it. He always executes what the plan is. I don't think he ever deviates from whatever his game plan is. I don't think he never has to change it either. And even if there has to be some sort of adjustment, I think he's one of those guys who's willing to make the adjustments in mid-round and mid-fight, and even before he makes it to the corner, at which point, Eugene has to, give him something to get. But even thinking back at it, I don't even think about moments where he's in the corner and Eugene's telling him a lot to change. Mm-hmm. You know, even that, he's already doing it. The plan's already set in motion.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, look, Volkanovski is a guy. Okay, so here's the thing, dude. A lot of fighters, this, I don't want to pick on anybody in particular, but like a lot of fighters will go out there, if they lose a fight, if they don't look as good, like, oh, I felt a little bit off, I had an injury going into camp, but blah, 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 I felt off tonight. Volkanovski's never off. What's his worst performance in the UFC so far? Probably the Holloway second fight. And even then, if you look at that one objectively, I think Max Holloway won that fight. But I think the fact that Volkanovski went up against arguably one of the best forms you're ever going to see Max Holloway, round 1 and 2, he could not miss. Like, he dropped him twice, and Holloway's not a big puncher, dude. He was landing that clean that he dropped one of the greatest shins in the UFC twice in the first 2 rounds. But even then, after that, he proceeded to make it a really, really close fight, dude. Volkanovski is never off. A lot of guys, I feel like, a lot of people would overlook Korean Zombie in this situation, coming in, obviously 2 months isn't that short notice, but just to go from getting surgery, or looking at getting surgery, like planning appointments. He talked about his YouTube channel that he's going to get surgery maybe out for a year or 2 because of how bad the injury is, to having to fight a title fight instantly. That's a huge jump, Obviously, he does have the injury going in. He's not looked super impressive in his last 2 fights. I feel like a lot of people would overlook the Korean Zombie. Volkanovski's not that guy, man. He's not that guy. And I do like it's something I was going to ask you, but I realized I fucked up halfway, like, when we started talking, I was like, oh, damn, I had to ask that question. I'm kind of on the same page as you. Like, I think all 3 of these guys, the kind of like the B-sides, Chan Sung Jung, Sterling, and Burns, they're all massive underdogs in this weekend, But I think Korean Zombie might be the best bet to pull it off. But I'll be honest, man, as much as I love the guy, I'm so happy he's getting the title shot. I know everybody wanted Triple C, and honestly, I did too.
Did you not want to see C4, man?
I did want to see C4. I'm a big Cejudo guy. I think, damn, it still makes me sad.
But Josh, you'll be there fighting in spirit.
Well, he's gonna be in the Zombie's corner.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm happy about that. But
we've seen the Coach Cejudo success, man. I mean, we've seen the changes in the fighters. So this is another one, Josh, we got to look out for. I mean, we got to see the kind of changes that come in and the kind of fighter Zombie looks like in this fight. I'm actually curious. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things too, the changing, not necessarily changing camp, but bringing someone else into his camp.
Absolutely. And here's my biggest issue, man. If I look at this fight, the only way I see Korean Zombie winning is if he lands something super clean, or if there's just some sort of wild scramble. He's not going to win on points. So with that in mind, what would even be his strategy? Like, do you go in there to search for the knockout? Do you search for a takedown because his grappling is so good? He's in a weird position. Korean Zombie is. You
know something? I'm curious to see how many leg kicks come into game plan. I mean, we saw that obviously in Henry's career, that was something he kind of built upon later on. Mm-hmm. And we've seen that with some of his fighters. I mean, we saw that in the Davison fight, against Brandon. Obviously, instantly started breaking down the legs, slowing down the mobility. Maybe he tries to slow down Volk with some leg kicks early on. Maybe try to tire him out, some cage wrestling. I don't know. And even then, Volk's on, wrestling game is strong, man. So I don't know. Maybe that's not even an option they're looking at. But I guess now that you mentioned it, yeah, maybe the feet will be the plan. Actually, look out for that big punch, slow him down with mobility, lots of leg kicks, invest in them early on, and hopefully they pay off late.
Yeah, and we also saw Max Holloway had success with kicks in the second fight.
So yeah, maybe that's something to look at.
Yeah, early on. He stopped doing them in the latter rounds, but like, dude, those leg kicks, I'm not sure if you remember in the first fight, whenever Max kind of like got pissed off about, the leg kicks. So the second one, he's like, fuck it, I'm going to kick right back. And he had a lot of success with it. Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. Volkanov's the guy that generally controls the rules of engagement. Like, he generally fights at the distance that he always wants to. With the exception of the Chad Mendez fight, where he just said fuck it when balls to the wall and just start trading in the pocket, but he won that one, so it worked out for him. But yeah, man, I'm a huge Korean Zombie fan, but I don't know if we've given our predictions yet, but I think the safe bet, and I'm going to pick him too. I'm going to take Alexander Volkanovski via decision. I think he's probably going to play it safe, relatively safe, to get that trilogy fight with Max and just add another scalp to his his resume. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm on the same page, man. I mean, like I said, though, I wouldn't be surprised though Zombie came out here and got an upset.
Yeah, that's where I am as well. I mean, of the guys this weekend, I would not be surprised if he came out and did it. But look, dude, moving on to the co-main event. This one, I feel like the main event, it's kind of weird because like if you were to, I feel like if you put it in reverse, right? Like Khamzat Chimaev was the main event, Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan, second most anticipated. Volkanovski, Chan Sung-Jung, I've seen very little buzz about. But this title fight between Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan, the rematch, I've seen a shit ton of buzz about, dude. I mean, if you look up like the UFC's YouTube numbers, like they do like the previews or whatever.
Yeah.
It's Chimaev by a fucking landslide. But then Sterling Yan are like right up there, man. Like this fight has a lot of attention on it. And I can't believe this story is so interesting. It just the X's and O's on this one are very interesting as well. I feel like, I'll get my preview in a minute, but like, look, dude, going into this, obviously, just to lay it out, these two fought over a year ago, March 2021. Feels like a fucking lifetime ago, dude.
You're telling me, bro.
It's UFC 259. You know what? More of a back and forth fight than people remember. Going into the fourth round, it was Sterling up 2-1 on one judge's card, and the other two had it 2-1 Yan. But regardless, by the fourth round, the tide had completely turned. Yan was putting a beating on him, and for some inexplicable reason, he throws a massive knee, which Sterling goes back, they call it off, DQ win, and with that, Aljamain Sterling, the Funk Master, is the first ever UFC champion to win via disqualification. To win the belt via disqualification, I mean. Since then, Sterling's taken some time off to heal some injuries. Petr Yan became champion in the interim by defeating Corey Sandhagen, UFC 267, interim bantamweight champion, I mean. So now they're going to run it back. This fight, I'm a lot more excited for it than, like, not really excited. I kind of talk about the excitement level, but, like, I think this fight is going to be a lot closer than what a lot of people think. What do you think about this fight? Just not even giving your prediction, none of that. What are your early thoughts on it?
I mean, I feel like it should be, right? They already fought once. You see a lot. And we've seen how it is, man, in these second championship fights, how these fights go, man. It usually is more competitive, more tighter, harder to get the finish. Because you've already seen the strengths. You've seen what you shouldn't do and what you can do. And, in theory it should be, man. It should be a really tough, close fight, I think. It should go to the card. I imagine it should go to the cards with these kind of guys.
Mm. Well, if it makes it to the cards, it'd be, better than the last time. Because obviously, Aljamain finished Petr Yan last time, won via finish. So, how about that?
Self-finished, man. That's a new one.
Yeah, man, I'm very excited for this one. I mean, I feel like a lot of Sterling's done everything right, in my opinion. I'm not sure if you agree, but if you look at, I've watched a couple of interviews this week. He's kind of talked about, like, he's put on a lot of muscle. He's in visibly a lot better shape this time. He took time off to heal some neck injuries, maybe some hand injuries, I believe. He's coming in 100%. If you lose this one, there is no excuse. Like, there's nothing that you can make excuse for. I kind of feel like a lot of people are forgetting just how good Aljamain Sterling is because of the DQ. I feel like I've said that multiple times on the show, considering we talked about this fight, like this rematch in the past, but this is a guy that dominated and finished Corey Sandhagen in the first round. He dominated Pedro Munoz, dominated Jimmy Rivera. He beat Renan Barao when Renan still had some juice in the tank, you know what I mean? He's a very, 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 very good fighter, dude. Like, there's a reason why obviously betting odds now for the rematch, it's insanely stacked in Jan's direction, but it was a damn near 50-50 fight when they went in the first time. And obviously we've seen Petr Yan in the fight with Corey Sandhagen. He's the younger guy. We've seen him improve a lot, honestly. Over the years, I guess I should say. Like, as he's fighting better competition, he's getting better in the octagon. Look, man, I think Sterling's done everything right, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Who do you got in this one, as far as prediction-wise?
Oh, man, you're just throwing me right into it, Josh.
So, I'm throwing you right into it. We can go.
Oh, man, no, I was kidding. Yeah, look, I'm going to stay with Petr Yan, man. I think he's going to get it done. I think he's going to retain the title. Look, he has extremely great stand-up, great Muay Thai. I mean, I saw some footage. I think he was out there in Thailand out there training. I could be wrong. I might be thinking of someone else, but I could have sworn I'd seen some footage out there of him training. He's one of those guys, dude, who you look at him and you don't see he doesn't look like Aljamain, he's not, as extremely muscular, he doesn't look as athletic, but dude, he can crack, he has good cardio, and he paces himself extremely well, Josh. Because, early on, he doesn't start, he's not a fast starter.
No.
But that doesn't mean he's bad in those early rounds. But we've seen it, Josh. He builds it up. Round 1, round 2, and round 3. And I think he's built for championship fights, man, because, like I said, he's one of those people who builds up the pace. And then 3, 4, and 5, man, I mean, it's set. You know what I mean? It's a whole different human being, man. And that's when he starts teeing off. And then with great wrestling, too. Hard to take down. I mean, it's going to be a tough night for Aljamain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on the same page. Something we didn't talk about, which I realized I just fucked up and forgot to ask. Petr Yan doesn't really have much of a team going into this one.
Is that because of the whole situation out there?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just a visa. I don't know if it has with that related situation. But there was visa issues with his entire corner. He talked about Cejudo.
That's pretty
Cejudo
bad.
agreed to do it, and then on Twitter, Cejudo announced that he's not going to do it. I actually reported yesterday on BJPenn.com, shout out greatest MMA website in the universe, that Sean O'Malley also said, like, I'm not going to fucking quarter that dude. Like, he's not. So O'Malley's also out, which a lot of people kind of flew under the radar. O'Malley talked about how he's out. Apparently he's trained with the American Top Team before. So I'm under the assumption that they're going to go ahead and be in his corner. But he does train. Yeah, he does normally train under Tiger Muay Thai. Yeah. So he'll have a slightly different corner this time around, at least from my understanding. Yeah, man. Like I said, I think Sterling's done everything the right way. I think people kind of forget how close their first fight was up until that 4th round. Even the 3rd round wasn't some insane beatdown, man. Like, it was just that 4th round, everything turned. He turned it on. He started landing clean. So on and so forth, man. Yeah, but even with all that being said, I do think that it's not gonna happen, man. I think there's too much going in the opposite direction. There's certain factors that make Sterling interesting in this one, and I think if Sterling just gets his hands on him, and he gets into a scramble, anything can happen. He's such a good grappler, that anything is possible. I think the fact that he has a really, really awkward stand-up also helps him as well. But I think in those 4th and 5th round, I think probably early on, I think we're going to see somewhat of a replay of their first fight. I think Sterling's going to come out, jump out to an early lead. I think he's going to be a lot more patient this time around. I also think he's actually going to go for takedowns. I think he went 1 for 14 in their first fight. But if you remember how those takedowns went,
he was trying.
The early ones he was trying, and then after something like the 2nd round, he would kind of just dive in, and there was no real setup there. He didn't go for he would get it on like the first attempt, but he would stop there. A lot of the great takedowns you see, and even Sterling in the past, 2nd, 3rd gear, 4th gear, he would go for multiple attempts and he'd keep on working for it. He would just essentially give up if he didn't get it on the first try. I think by like the 3rd, 4th round, he was mentally broken. I think if he actually tries more for the takedowns, you might see if he's in a better mindset, we'll see what happens. But I just think there's too much going in the opposite direction for Aljamain Sterling to retain the title. I think it's going to be a decision. I think Aljo is going to take a couple of early rounds. I think he's going to get a lot of respect back in the eyes of the fans. Then at the end of the night, no mercy, will be champion once again. Or at least
there's a lot of pressure on him, man.
Huh?
There's a lot of pressure on him.
Who, on Sterling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's pressure on both these guys because everybody assumes Petr Yan's going to beat the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah.
So I really don't think there's a whole lot of pressure on Sterling. I suppose there's pressure on him just to retain the title and keep that paycheck. You know what I mean? As champion, but outside of that,
I mean, they got different kind of pressure on each other.
You know that's fair enough there. I am going to take Petr Yan to become undisputed champion once again. I will go ahead and ask this though. Bantamweight's in a weird spot. After this fight, who do you think fights for the title next?
Dude, Jose Aldo, Dominic Cruz, title eliminator.
They probably should have already booked that though, because he has a fight this weekend.
I mean, they'll find someone. I mean, they'll throw someone out there. I mean, oh no, what do you mean? TJ.
Oh yeah, true.
Forgot about that.
Is he healed up yet?
Soon. That was like last year when he had the surgery, right?
I believe so.
So by the end of the year, he should be healthy.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, these guys are not going to fight in the next 5 months. These guys are going to fight in like November, December, October at the earliest, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, TJ will fight the winner of this, and then
After TJ, I mean,
Dom Aldo winner.
I'm assuming, if they do that, I mean, who's Cheeto fighting? Is he fighting,
He's gonna be fighting Rob Font on the 30th of this month.
I mean, that would push him to 5. Unless, I mean, Aldo's 3, and Aldo's have been winning, I don't know.
And Aldo already beat him, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so, there you go.
I don't know what they're gonna do. Yeah, Song just fought. So yeah, the only guy in the top who needs, and I'm pretty sure is Merab scheduled? I don't think he's scheduled.
Let me take a quick look.
Could be wrong.
He's not scheduled.
So yeah, he's another guy who's not scheduled. So Dom, Merab are not scheduled, although should be available sometime this year. We'll see what they decide to do with that. I mean, they could do Merab Aldo if they really wanted to, but it's not what I want.
Yeah, same. I think the one that makes by far the most sense is Dom Aldo, and then TJ fights the winner of that fight this weekend. But that's just forecasting for the future. Obviously, the UFC, a bit strange how they do stuff sometimes.
They do what they want.
Yeah, they do. True. Yeah, man. But I think it's time to move on. The real main event. The people's main event. Now, Khamzat Chimaev, I mean, I'll just be frank. Since I've been watching MMA, which, I mean, I didn't really watch it, like, actively that back then, but I've been watching generally since around 2012. I started watching full-time, like, 2014, right? I have not seen, there's 2 rises that have given me, like, holy shit, this guy's a future star. He's a, like, you can just, there's something special there. You can just feel it when you're watching him fight, when you're watching the interview. Or you're seeing stuff on social media. You can just see it. Conor McGregor is 1. Khamzat Chimaev is 2. Like, he is, there's something unexplainable about it. Obviously, some people kind of draw the comparison to Khabib, but not really. I mean, Khabib didn't really talk a whole lot of shit until the end there, and a lot of Khabib's shit talking is kind of in good fun and outside of Conor, obviously.
Yeah.
And they both have grappling, so that could be it, but like, there's something special about this kid, and I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that he has, let me double check, 4 fights in the UFC. 4 fights. He's won all of them via finish, and he's gotten hit once. 4 fights, getting hit once. That's impossible. That's an impossible statistic. That one will never be broken. I don't remember the exact ratio. Like I brought it up earlier. I think it's like 212 to 1 or something, like his striking ratio. Like yes, we've seen guys like John Jones, Conor McGregor, come in, Khabib Nurmagomedov. They've come in, but they've been tested. They've lost rounds in the early part. I mean, maybe Conor didn't, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they would have moments. They would have exchanges where they got tested. They would, if they're a grappler in Khabib's case, they couldn't get a takedown. Khamzat Chimaev has done every single thing flawlessly. He has not done a single thing wrong through 4 fights in the UFC, and that's fucking impossible. That's impossible. Like, we've never seen that happen before. He's flawless from every single possible statistic that we have for value. And like, I understand some people point to, the competition. Dude, nobody starts off fighting killers. Unless they're like established champion coming in, nobody starts off fighting top 5 guys. But he's faced better competition each time. John Phillips was essentially, I don't want to say a scrub, but a lower tier UFC guy. Came in, was not that great. He fought Reyes McKee, who is a Cage Warriors title challenger. I don't remember he was Cage Warriors champion, but you know what? Another step up, and he dominated him as well. He fought Gerald Mearshart, not ranked in the top 15, but he has been in the past. A veteran of the game, and just an all-around great guy. Dominated him, knocked out, round 1. And then he fights the Leech, Li Jianglang, who was coming off a huge win for Santiago Ponzinibbio. Essentially been top 15, top 10 his entire time in the UFC. Dominates him, chokes him out, puts him to sleep in round 1. He's gotten better with each step up of competition. Angel, do you think he takes a step up in competition? Do you think, I'm just going to skip straight to it, dude. do you think he gets it in this weekend? How do you foresee this fight going?
Oh my God, I've tried to imagine it multiple times. Josh, I kid you not, I've gone to sleep in the morning, in my case. and I think about the fight, I try to envision it, I'm like, how does it start? I kid you not, Josh, I've literally closed my eyes and I've thought this. I'm like, okay, coming out, I imagine, I kid you not, Josh, I imagine everything from the shorts they're wearing, to how Khamzat looks, his demeanor, to Gilbert's demeanor, the corners. I kid you not, I imagine Darren Till there. I imagine the arena, how loud it's getting. Like, I've tried to envision it, Josh, and I can't put it together. All I see is the glove touch, and then I go blank. I kid you not. But, obviously, we're here, man, and I gotta create not create some sort of, but formulate a thought, right?
Yeah.
And, man, dude, Gilbert Burns was my guy, dude. I had him picked to beat, Kamaru. That fight happened, did not go the way I thought it would at all. It was really disappointing to me. I thought he was gonna be champ. I mean, I still pick him as a guy who could still be champ, regardless of what happens this weekend. And
yeah,
I mean, he has incredible power, insane jiu-jitsu, and then as a personality, he's a fucking awesome dude. I love his personality. He's a fucking stud of a guy, and family guy. I always appreciate that. On the embeddeds when they show their family, and you get to see the people, the human side.
Yeah.
And then Hoffman, man, he's been one of those other guys who we've seen him more. I love the buddy cop, Darren Till. I never expected those two guys ever to be the homies, by the way. But I love it, dude. It's a fucking duo, dude. I love seeing that footage. And I hope he's there, man. I hope he's there in the corner. I hope he's there in the crowd.
I'm sure he will be.
He better be, dude. I'll be disappointed if he's not. They've literally been everywhere together. It's fucking amazing.
It is, yeah.
Kind of friendship I want. No, I was kidding, Josh.
Yeah, fuck you, Josh. Fuck you. Damn.
But I don't know where the fight's gonna go, Josh. That's my biggest issue. And I think leading into this fight, going into this weekend, a lot of questions will be answered. What happens when it goes past when it goes later into the second round? If it goes into the second round, what happens going into the third fight? How is he against the guy who is this high of level? And it's not to disrespect the Leech or any other guy he's fought before, but this is a guy who is fought for the title, was that number one, number two guy in this division as far as, rankings for a while, and it still is, and a guy with an incredible pedigree, I don't want to give an exact prediction on how I think it's going to happen. Look, I think there's potential for a knockout. Submission, I think it's going to be too hard, just because of Gilbert's abilities on the ground. I imagine Khamzat's going to be smart and keep it on the feet. I'm going to pick the Khamzat win here, Josh. And if it's being a finish, I don't think it'll be submission. I think it'll be a knockout.
Well, that's a lot to take in, man. That's a lot to take in. It's kind of funny. I didn't want to make fun of you because I've also thought about how this fight's going to go. Like, sometimes I'll, sit at night and I'm like, how is this fight? Like, a lot of it's, the day before a podcast or something. I'll, sit and I'm, try to, foresee how a fight's going to go. You know what I mean? Before I make a prediction. This fight, I have no idea how it's going to go in terms of stand-up. Will he want to indulge in the grappling? So on and so forth. I really don't know. What I am confident about, and I feel like a Chelsea. I present you with this. I'll leave you with this. Where does Gilbert Burns win this fight? You know what I mean? I wish sometimes we had cameras on. You know what I mean? Because I'm talking with my hands right now, like I'm chill. I leave you with this. Where does Gilbert Burns win this fight? As much as Gilbert Burns is an ace on the mat, dude, I don't know if it was age or if it was just a bad night at the office. Because sometimes, fighters are always, some guys like Volkanovski I talked about earlier, they can power through. Sometimes they don't get up and feel like fighting. Gilbert Burns had a really weird fight against Wonderboy Thompson last time. It could be the weird stylistic matchup, but he had trouble taking him down. He couldn't do much on the mat. And if you can't really submit Wonderboy, I don't think you'd be able to submit Khamzat Chimaev. That's a big factor for me personally.
Granted,
also, I feel
Granted, though, at the same time, Wonderboy's improved a lot on that area.
And I don't believe Wonderboy has ever been submitted. He is an underrated grappler. I'm double checking, but I don't believe Wonderboy.
Defensively.
Yeah, he's never been submitted. Defensively, he's great on the mat. But at the same point, it's I don't think he's better than Khamzat is. You know what I mean? I don't think Khamzat's going to be afraid to indulge him on the mat.
You believe in his jiu-jitsu blue belt?
Is Khamzat a blue belt?
I kid you not, Khamzat's a blue belt.
I mean, Habib's like a fucking blue belt too, right?
Hey man, jiu-jitsu doesn't exist.
I remember for the longest time, Ben Askren would say, "I'm a black belt," and then somebody would point out, like, "No, you're not." They'd be like, "Well, then try and submit me."
I love that.
And nobody could do it until Damian Maia in his last fight. You know, like John Jones, a purple belt. You know, like there's these guys where like I don't really take a whole lot of stock in that sort of thing.
Would it be funnier if Hanzo was a white belt?
It'd be a lot funnier. Yeah.
Oh man, I wish he was.
There are guys like that where they're not a high belt ranking and they're just fucking beasts on the mat. A lot of them are wrestlers like Khamzat is, but sometimes they're just rare dudes. Yeah, man, I don't think Khamzat will be out of his element on the ground with him. I think on the feet, Gilbert Burns has a lot of power. And I think that's something that ever since he moved up to 170, his power doesn't really get talked about enough. He's still the only guy to ever drop Kamaru Usman. He's the only man to ever hurt Kamaru Usman. Like, and Kamaru's faced some fucking hitters, man. Like, Gilbert has we talked about it before in this podcast. He got very, very close to finishing him when he fought him. But that's obviously in the past, man. Khamzat's chin has not been tested. I think he'll be tested in this one. I think he will. I think he will be tested in this fight. I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Khamzat Chimaev is going to win this one. In what way, I'm not entirely sure. You know, I'm not going to give a super specific prediction on this one. Normally I do. I'll say via decision or whatever, or via knockout or whatever. I don't know how he's going to win this one. I'm taking Khamzat though. I think this kid, if you listen to everything that comes out about this kid, there's never been a single person who's been like, oh yeah, I beat him in the gym. That happens. Like, dudes talk shit all the time. They don't talk shit about Khamzat Chimaev. They don't. And he's looked better every single time he's taken a step up. He's 10-0 with all finishes. He's only 27 years old. I think Boers is going to win this one, and I think he's going to fight for the title next. Now, Kamaru will have to get through Leon Edwards. Those two are going to fight in July, and actually this comes from Media Day Live as we're speaking. Somebody asked him, Khamzat, do you think you're going to skip the line and essentially, fight Kamaru next? He's like, no, I want to see Leon fight for the title. Leon deserves it. So,
good guy.
Based Chimaev as a Leon Edwards fan.
What a humble guy, man.
Yeah, I mean, as a fan of both those dudes, absolutely based Khamzat Chimaev for essentially saying, yeah, I want to see him fight for the title. But yeah, I mean, if Kamaru can get through Leon Edwards, which nothing is guaranteed, he's already faced him once before, and that fight was so long ago. I really don't take much stock into it. But Leon Edwards is very, very good on a tremendous win streak, so on and so forth. Nothing's guaranteed. I think that fight's a lot closer to what people will think. But dude, if he gets through him, goddamn. I mean,
talk about shaking the world, man.
Oh my god, what a fight. Chimaev Usman, dude. I'll throw you this question because it's just something I thought about. So the timeline's really, they could sit Chimaev on the shelf if he wins this one and have for the fight for the belt, but he's talked about wanting to remain active. Let's say hypothetically he wins this one. He said he wants to be active. Do you give him another fight, or do you risk his title shot if you're the UFC? Try to one of the Chimaev fight out there.
He would have to fight down. That'd be the issue because he wouldn't be able to fight Colby.
I don't think Colby would want to fight him either.
Yeah, so he'd have to fight down. So maybe Wonder Boy, which would be weird because he fought Gilbert and Gilbert beat Wonder Boy.
That's what I was thinking.
Sean Brady, if they wanted to just say fuck it, someone's has to go type of deal, main event, fight night or pay per view, whatever they decide to do, right?
Yeah.
Or on a pay per view, that'd be a banger. And I mean, for Sean, if he decided to take that, I mean, that'd be big, dude, right? I mean, take someone's get a shot at the title. I mean, that's a pretty good scenario, but very risky. But at the same time, it's he's at that point where he has to start taking risks too. So.
That's true, and I don't want to see that fight happen right now, personally. Yeah. I'd like to see that one happen down the line, but yeah, man. If the UFC, I honestly think if the UFC's really, I think they should gamble a little bit, man. I really think they should, because obviously if he beats Gilbert in dramatic fashion, then it doesn't really matter. But man, you're telling me Khamzat wants to remain active. April to July is not a big, that's a decent time. Time off to jump right back in, especially considering he missed an entire year due to COVID. You tell me that, like, you would not, like, if I'm the UFC, I'm having Leon fight Usman for the rematch, top of International Fight Week. I'm putting Khamzat versus anybody in the co-main. Put those guys on the same card. You have them at the same press conference. You set that fight for the future. You should build that shit all on the same card.
Do you think they could do that by Abu Dhabi?
Yes, I think so.
Just a thought to put out there.
Yeah. I mean, but here the only real issue with this one is, like I said, if you look at the rankings, he's not going to fight up because the only person he can fight is Colby, and Colby's too busy trying to fight anybody that's not a welterweight contender. So, sorry.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if you look at it, it's like I don't think the Luke Muhammad winner would probably want to do that because I think they know that they'd probably be next in line, and that'd be a tough fight to take. It would match up pretty well, but I don't know if the UFC would want to do that. They could match up. I think probably Wonder Boy would make sense. If Sean Brady would make sense. Neil Magny though, probably the one to make.
Wonder Boy's coming off like 2 losses though, right?
2 losses, yeah.
That's the only issue.
Yeah, I think Neil Magny though. You put Neil Magny versus Khamzat Chimaev, considering both those guys said they'd take that fight. Makes a lot of sense. Magny versus Chimaev in the co-main, and then you give him 5 rounds, fuck it, and then you put the main event of International Fight Week, Kamaru Edwards too. So
that's only if Leon wins though.
Well, yeah, but
that's the only way this scenario works out like that.
No, I know, but that's a lot of ifs, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, man, just to kind of move on from this one, moving one fight down, Mackenzie Dern, Tisha Torres. 115's in a bit of a weird spot. Obviously, we're finally going to see Rose Namajunas fight Carla Esparza. They've, thought about like, oh shit, we really can't give the shot to anybody else, so they're just decided to do it. Both these women, are both on the way up. Obviously, Dern is coming off a loss, but prior to that, she was on a tremendous win streak. Tisha Torres, damn near out of the UFC at one point. She had lost 4 in a row. She's rebounded with 3 straight wins, all against pretty good competition. Brianna Van Buren, Sam Hughes, and Angela Hill. Very much an important fight for both of these, trying to remain in title contention. Who do you got on this one?
Like you said, man, I gotta give credit to Tisha Torres. She was able to string them together, man, because like you said, she was on a tough little skid there. Looked like she was on her way out, but she strung three wins together. It's not gonna get any easier here. They're Mackenzie Dern, like you said, impressive in one way. Tough last fight. I mean, dude, she was having a lot of success in the fight on the ground. She just couldn't get it back down there. I think she'll struggle a lot here too. Again with Tisha Torres, man, she's she's one of the most conditioned fighters in the whole roster, the UFC, men or women, to be honest with you. I mean, you see it physically and you see it in the cage too. I mean, she's incredibly tough and in incredible shape always. I'm just curious to see how Mackenzie comes back, see how much she worked on her takedown, see if she's able to get the fight to the ground on here. And maybe some improvements in the stand-up, man, because if you could throw 1 or 2 out there, throw them off, and then get the takedown, it makes your life a lot easier, man. So I think that's some big factors for me going into this fight. And then for Tisha Torres, I mean, it's kind of like, hey, can you keep it going? Can you keep doing what you're already doing? And extend this little win streak because you're back on it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Mackenzie Dern here. I think this fight's probably going to take place in the grappling department, even if it doesn't. I still think Mackenzie's improving her striking. Like, she's not all the way there, but I think she's getting better fight to fight. Obviously, she's working with Jason Perillo. It's only going to be a matter of time. She's still very young. She's still, she just turned 29. And 115 is, like, a deceptively old division. Like, if you look at how old a lot of the women's strawweights are, like, it's a deceptively, I think I just said it, but yeah, it's like a deceptively old division.
Well, it's crazy because Rose is champ.
Yeah, I mean, Rose, it's crazy. She's only 29. She's been around the UFC for, like, ever. But she's 29. Esparza's 34. Zhang is 32. Yang Xiaonan is 32. Like, if you look at a lot of them are a lot older than you expect. Antrov's 36. Nina Nunes is 36. Torres is 32. Like, it's been Waterson's, 36. So it's an older division than what people think. So yeah, Mackenzie Dern's young for the division. She's going to be fine. Which
is good for her, right?
Yeah, she's only getting better too. So I'm going to take her to win this one. I think sooner rather than later, we're going to see her in that title position. Now, a bit of a weird place for a main card opener, not going to lie, because I think there's a lot of fights you could put over it. But it's still, honestly, a pretty damn good fight. 2 actually older lightweights, Vince Pichel, arguably best mustache in the UFC, not gonna lie. 39 years.
Who else is up there then?
Shit, dude. I don't even know, actually.
I mean, I guess you would have had Eddie Wineland up there, but he's not, you know.
Yeah, Eddie Wineland would have been up there. Oh my god, I can't remember his name. The flyweight. Uncle Creepy. He fought DJ. Ian McCall. He was up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's been out too. So yeah, I'd say right now, he's number one. No, I can't even lie. There's nobody else that really comes close unless I'm forgetting somebody. So yeah, best mustache in the UFC, Vince Purcell. 39 years old, but on a pretty nice win streak. I think he's won something like fucking 7 of his last 8 fights, something along those lines. One loss in there is Javier Gillespie. His current win streak includes Austin Hubbard, Jim Miller, Roosevelt Roberts, taking on the Olympian Mark Madsen. 37 years old. Obviously, he silver medalist in the 2016 Olympics. He's kind of made the transition, and you know he's taken on Vince Pichel now. He did beat Clay Guida in his last time out, so undefeated, still 11-0. That was a split decision. It feels like he's never really lived up. It kind of what the hype was when he came in, but maybe this will be the fight, you know, where he kind of goes all out. What do you think about this fight, my man?
Man, like I told you, man, for me, I thought that would be the Clay Guida fight, man. I thought he was going to come out here, make a stand against Clay Guida, and then his next opponent was going to be ranked. And then after that fight, I'm like, clearly we're not at that point yet.
Yeah.
I felt like, for the hype he had and kind of the expectation he had, Clay Guida was going to be that guy who's going to take him to the next level. And it ended up not being it. I mean, he ended up beating him. It was close. I don't think it was controversial or anything. There might have been some sort of stuff at the time, but I'm pretty sure he won it. Here, though, I mean, like you said, his age, I think, is a big factor. 37, man. I mean, I don't know how close he's turning 38, but, you know, obviously he's not getting any younger, and his opponents are not getting any older with him either. He's just having the luck of the draw here with getting one who's not far apart from his age. Mm-hmm. And actually happens to be older than him and be a pretty good contender in this division. I want to see him come out here and make a statement, man. I want to see him out here and get a finish, get something out here and make a statement. And I want to see him fight again this year, man, because I'm getting, one fight out of him each year?
Yeah.
He's been in the UFC.
Essentially.
Get another fight in there, man. Get another fight in here. You don't have the kind of time to be fighting once a year, you know? And I know he's older. I'm sure the weight cut's not easy, especially for the style of fight he fights. And how hard it is to stay conditioned, but, get him out of there, man, you know? Get him out of there, and that's the best way you can win fights too, man, finishing your opponent, cause then you don't gotta leave it in the hands of the judge.
True, and I look, dude, that last fight with Clay Guida is still a gamer. I don't think you're gonna get too many people who disagree with that.
Oh, yeah, no disrespect.
Yeah, no disrespect, but he is 40. Like, he's a man, he's 40, and he's had some up and downs. I thought he should have won that fight a lot easier, you know, than he actually did. I do think he's going to win this one. I am going to take him to beat Vince Pichel. Vince Pichel is no punk. Very good on a great run. But, you know, it's kind of a fight for somebody to break into the top 15 or get close to it. I'm going to take Mark Madsen. I think he's going to win this one. I really hope that he, you know, showcase. I hope this is a fight where he can showcase. You know what I mean? Like, I had a lot of hope for him when he came in. It has not worked out as well as I hoped. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to take Mark Madsen to get the win here. You know, as far as the undercard goes, there's a lot of fights that I personally like here. But what's the ones that you're looking to highlight?
I mean, we got to highlight one special Irishman on this card, Josh. It's not Conor McGregor. It's actually Ian Gary. At the end of the prelims leading into the main card against Darion Weeks, hard fight. Darion Weeks, I feel like a lot of people would probably look Darion. If you don't know the name, and I think you just saw the one Ian Gary fight, you see the record, you hear about the hype, I think you'd be surprised. Darion Weeks is actually a very tough guy and a very talented individual, very young, has a lot of potential to grow too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think Ian Gary, like, obviously he came in with a lot of hype, and he's very, very young, so I'm trying not to take a whole lot of stock after his last fight. You know what I mean? Obviously he did get a knockout, which sounds dope on paper. I feel like if you look at betting lines, he's a huge favorite in this one. Roughly 4-1 over Darion Weeks. He's 8-0. He's 24 years young. This is a nice showcase fight. This is a good prospect fight. Darion Weeks is only 5-1, and he had a tough fight with Brian Barberena last time. He came in on super short notice, but he gave him a hell of a fight, man. I would not be surprised to see Darion Weeks honestly pull the upset here. But yeah, Ian Gary is definitely the name that everybody's looking for. But yeah, man. That's kind of like the lead-in fight to the pay-per-view. One down, Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Marcin Tybura, 2 ranked heavyweights. Should be a lot of fun there. Both these guys need a win. Aspen Ladd taking on Raquel Pennington. I believe Raquel's coming in on short notice.
Yes, that is a fact.
Yeah. So which is interesting considering she's actually riding a really good win streak.
Does she? Is she on what is that, 2?
3.
3, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, 4 of her last 5, too. She beat Irina Aldana, she lost to Holly Holm, then beat Renault, Piani Kinzad, and then Macy Chiasson submitted her. So, yeah, she's on a solid win streak. So I'm just a little bit surprised that she's taken this one on super short notice. But you know what? We'll see what happens there. Aspen Ladd needs to win bad, man. I mean, she's lost to. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. So she was originally scheduled against Irina Aldana, which I don't know if this is really a better matchup. Actually, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I thought Irina was a tough out for her when she was originally scheduled against her.
No, I agree. For sure. So, but yeah, man, Aspen Ladd needs to win bad, like deceptively bad, because like she's lost 2 of her last 3, which does not, like, you're like, oh, that's not too bad, right? But you gotta remember, dude, all those fights, she missed all of 2020, nearly missed all of 2021. She had that terrible weight miss. She fought up at 145, lost in a terrible fight against Norma Dumont. She's probably not in a great position in the eyes of UFC. She needs this one bad, man. She's only 27 years old. And she's still ranked number 4, but dude, she's gotta win this one. But we'll see what happens there. Mickey Gall's back, man. I mean, what do you even say about this kid at this point? He's taking on Mike Malott, who, correct me if I'm wrong, fought in the Contender Series, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this kid is 7-1-1. Coming off the Contender Series win, he's a CFFC veteran, Interesting fight here. I think I'm kind of past the point of calling Mickey Gall a prospect. He's 30 years old. He's not going to live up to the hype that I wanted him to. Let's just hope he can keep on getting some wins. I'm not going to lie, his UFC career kind of got low-key derailed by fighting Punk as early as he did, but, all the fights are taking place in UFC, which is very, very tough. But we'll see what happens there. Alexei Oleinik fighting Jared Vanderaa on the UFC Fight Pass prelims. I'm not really dude, he needs this one. Vanderaa has lost 3 of 4 fights. His 1 win was over Justin Taffa. Oleinik is 1 win away from 60. He's so close. Do you think he gets it done? Now, this is not an official prediction, but do you think he gets it done?
I think he can. I'll put it like that. I think he possibly can. He should.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. Yeah, man. As far as the rest of the card goes, Fluffy Hernandez is back taking on Josh Frum. Fluffy become like a fan favorite, honestly.
I mean, after that submission,
Yeah. How can you not love him?
Or Rodolfo Vieira, that was at the start of last year. Damn, we haven't seen him since then.
Yeah.
Oh, a year and 2 months.
Damn, did he have like an injury?
I have no idea. I'm kind of wondering why he was gone that long too, especially after such a dope win, Yeah. A big win. Win that made a lot of people potentially some money.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so shout out Fluffy being back, man.
Okay, yeah. I'm looking at it now. He was scheduled multiple times last year, and 4 months later, he was scheduled to Soriano. He had a fight against him, hand injury, and then he withdrew from his a fight in December, and then he was offered a fight, and then his opponent changed. He had a different opponent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's had a rough time. Taking on, I believe, UFC newcomer Josh Frum. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but 9-2. He fought on Looking for a Fight. That's where he's from. Okay, interesting. Mm-hmm. So yeah, good fight there. My girl Kay Hansen's coming back. Obviously, she's fighting back down at 115. taking on Pierre Rodriguez, who is an undefeated 7-0. Interesting fight here. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Rodriguez is coming off the Contender Series. Kay Hansen has lost two in a row. I thought she beat Corey McKenna, but that Jasmine Jasovicius fight, that was not her weight class. So we'll see what happens here. I believe the last fight on her deal, I should probably ask about that. Never mind. Yeah, 4 fights in, so that makes sense. And then opening up the card, Julio Arce against Daniel Santos. Julio Arce, big fan of that kid, but he needs one after getting knocked out by Song Yadong. Interesting guy. He's kind of like on that weird place in UFC. Like, he's been in UFC for longer than you think. He's been in UFC for like 5 fucking years now. And he has some solid wins, but he's never been able to string it entirely together. And obviously Daniel Santos, I believe, is a UFC newcomer. But yeah, man, it's gonna be an interesting fight. Yeah, man, that's the entire card. That's the entire card. As far as the show is there anything else you want to discuss in the MMA world about this card or in general?
Nothing off the top of my head, unless you have something you want to bring up that I forgot or something.
I don't have anything. There's not a whole lot of news. We covered most of the news last week, my man. So.
Oh, man, it'd be like that.
It may not seem, but it do. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Obviously, not a whole lot to really discuss in terms of like outside. There's no Bellator. There's no one. Not that I really want to discuss it. There's no PFL. No Invicta. Nothing really going on after the UFC this week. There's nothing really last week as well. So a bit of a shorter episode. We did hope you guys enjoyed though. I'm at Josh Soundoff on Twitter. He's at Angels_Ortega at Courtside Sound for all things related to the show at RogueEnergy.com. Use code Soundoff at checkout. Again, 10% off. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace and butt grease. Mouse click.